Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast. I am your host, Alex Danner, and also the founder and owner of Fence and Deck Marketers, which is a digital marketing agency that works exclusively with fencing and decking businesses. If you listen to our latest shows, you know I've brought on a lot of industry experts and exciting, interesting people that can kind of share their knowledge and help fence and deck business owners out there. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. Today I have a friend, a mentor, and someone I really look up to, Lyn Askin from EOS Worldwide. Lyn, appreciate you making the time to come on the podcast with me. How's everything going?
It's amazing. A great morning. It's great to be on the show with you, Alex.
Awesome. Yep. I'm glad we could put this together so quickly too. But kind of a backstory with Lyn and I. So I met Lyn several years ago through a mastermind that we're both part of, seven-figure agency. Lyn is actually the head coach. So there's all kinds of different coaches in the program, and he's the lead coach out of all of them. So he's coached hundreds of businesses, if not more. But there's a thing or two about, growing a business and being successful. But I will say one thing that really sticks out to me when I first met Lyn, and I think most people would agree with this, is just a great human being, someone that's always willing to help whenever possible, and has helped me countless times with growing my business. So thank you for that, Lyn. It's been a big help. And I don't want to go into too much about Lyn because I'm going to let him do that himself. But I'd like to just kind of dive in and, learn a little bit more about you, so everyone can hear kind of your story and what you have going on these days. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of giving a little bit of an introduction, your story, your marketing history, how you got into EOS training, really anything you'd like to share would be great.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. That was a really, really nice introduction and a great compliment, and I really appreciate that. Let me tell you my story. So, who the heck is Lyn? So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I grew up on a small farm in Montana. We didn't have a lot of money, a lot of love in my house, but we didn't have a lot of, not a lot of things. And so I believe that probably made me pretty entrepreneurial. I had to earn every single thing that I wanted and that I got in my life. And so I had a paper route when I was 9 years old, started a mobile disc jockey business in my teens, started building computers in my 20s. I built one of the first online auctions in 1995 or 96. Launched my first e-commerce store in 1997, and then just started building websites for other people and basically ran a digital marketing agency for the last 26 years or something like that. But throughout all that time period, I mean, had a pretty good life and a pretty good career, but I faced the same challenges that most businesses face. Had kind of a lack of clear vision about who we were and who we served. Maybe had a bit of a lackluster team commitment, possibly because of our lack of clear vision. And to be honest, there was probably a lack of discipline and accountability kind of all the way to the top. But in 2020, Alex, I got a huge wake-up call. I suffered a massive bilateral pulmonary embolism. That's a mouthful. And as I laid in the ICU, basically fighting for my life, all I could think about was, what kind of mess did I just leave my wife and my son? I thought for sure I was dead. Most people that suffer a pulmonary embolism of the magnitude that I did don't make it. And so I thought, my gosh, my wife is going to have to go to my office. She's going to have to fire all of our team. She's going to have to lose all of our clients, and she's going to have to lock the door behind me. And that would have been the legacy that I left for my wife and my son. Man, it was killing me. And as I was dying, that's all I could think of. And, thank God I survived, but that business depended upon me 100%. If I'd have died that day, my business would have died with me. And again, thank God I survived, and I'm still working on the why there, but I'll do my best to figure that out. But I knew some things needed to change in my business. I had to build something that ran without me. My immediate thought was, obviously it took me about like 3 months to really recover and feel good again. But my immediate thought was, man, I've got to sell this. This business is killing me. And I don't know if you know this or not, Alex, but you can't sell a job. So, um, you know, I knew I had to transform my business, and so I started listening to podcasts and reading books about growing and scaling a business, and I came across EOS. Now, to be fair, I bought EOS, the book Traction. There, I bought the book Traction in 2014, and I read it, and I thought, oh, that's kind of nice, and then I put it on the shelf with the rest of the other business books I read, thinking like, oh man, I'd love to have that kind of framework in my business. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But in 2020, early 2021, I needed it. And so I actually hired a professional EOS implementer. And the transformation in our business was, quite frankly, remarkable. We 3x'd our revenue, we 7x'd our profit, we grew from 10 employees to 27. And most importantly, I was able to take a step back from daily operations. And so I was no longer had my hands in everything. And I was running a company that basically ran without me. I was able to pull myself out of the day to day, make my business more valuable, and make it actually desirable for other people. And as of September, I had a successful acquisition of my company, leaving the legacy for my family that I'd hoped to build. And so that transformation for me was life changing. I like to say that EOS changed my life, but the truth is, it probably saved my life, Alex.
Wow. That's a really powerful story. I've heard bits and pieces of that. I know you've said it before, but I mean, it's appreciate you sharing that. It's definitely powerful stuff. Having to go through that, and yeah, like you said, give yourself, I guess, passing on a job to your family, and after dealing with all that stuff, if you actually, God forbid, you did pass away, you have to deal with that, and then still have to deal with all the business and everything that was kind of keeping the family afloat and all that too. So that's pretty
They would have
remarkable.
had to
And
shut it all down. Yep.
yeah, well, I'm glad you make I'm glad you made it. I really am. Would have been a sad day to see you pass, but yeah, that's thanks for opening up and sharing that story. And I guess with I know kind of the marketing side a little bit. I know you exited like you said, and did you just get kind of hooked on EOS because of the power that it provided to your business, and you're just like, this is what I want to do. It just kind of like
Yeah,
a light bulb
totally.
in your head.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. When we implemented EOS in our business, I had said that I wanted to sell the business, but when we implemented EOS, I sort of fell in love with the business again. It became a real business. It became something that I was managing good people. We had good people. We had good processes. I was working with people that we really liked, and we just grew and scaled the business that I loved. And that entire process, the system, the structure, and that's the stuff that was missing in my life before. And I guess I just sort of fell in love with EOS. And I guess I drank all the EOS Kool-Aid because I reached out to my implementer and I'm like, man, what you do looks like a lot of fun. And do you think I would be any good at it? And he said, 1,000%, Lyn, 10,000% you should do this. And he encouraged me to become an implementer. And I guess that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this knowledge with others, is because of the way it changed my life or saved my life in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some listeners that know what EOS is, but maybe we could just kind of describe a little bit more detail and kind of go around like the backstory of it, the history of it, what exactly it is.
Sure. So let's start by saying that everything that I'm going to talk about today about EOS was created by a man named Gino Wickman. Gino was a lifelong entrepreneur, got called into his company business, somewhere around the age of 21. Business needed a little bit of a turnaround. He kind of worked on a turnaround of that company, ended up growing and scaling and selling that business. And he found out that he had sort of a passion for the art or science or the knack of running a really, really successful business. And he began kind of cobbling together EOS. Now, EOS is really just a simple set of practical real world tools to help you get more of what you want from your business. There's no magic beans or silver bullets, or it's not magic. Like it's just real world practical things, business concepts, timeless concepts that have been around for 100 years. He didn't invent it all. We just kind of cobbled it all together into a real functional system or framework to help you get more of what you want from your business. Now, EOS is really designed to help you get better at three things. And we say we help you get better at vision, traction, and healthy. And by vision, what I mean is getting you and your leadership team 100% on the same page with where you're going and how you're going to get there. Traction means instilling that discipline and accountability so that no matter where you look in your company, you see people executing on your vision. And then healthy just means making you and your team a more functional, cohesive, fun-loving team that actually likes to work together. Because let's be honest, sometimes it's not. And
Yeah.
so that's at least that's the concept or the idea of EOS, is to build vision, the traction, and the healthy part of your company.
Gotcha. Okay. And I guess we were talking a little bit before, before we started recording, but the businesses that need it, or what would you say, why should a business use EOS? I mean, how would you, best describe those businesses that like, yeah, you need to do this?
Well, I think when Gino created EOS, he saw a difference in companies. I think there's a big difference between what you learn in business school and what's happening in the real world in the small businesses that we work in. And he saw that there was a gap in the market for, what they teach you at business school versus what you have to learn on your own to run a real business. And he started building this framework around which to run a business. And so I think uh, I don't know that EOS is for everyone, but I do know that if your business is running you and you're not running your business and it's running you, I think EOS might be a good fit. If you have to deal with people in your business, I think EOS might be a good fit. I think if you have a profit problem or a lack of profit, I think EOS might be a good fit. I think if you ever feel like you're stuck in your business, you feel like you've hit the ceiling, and that's the concept. You're just kind of cruising along, and then just wham, you're stuck, and you just can't break through the ceiling. EOS might be a good fit. And then I think maybe if you're saying like, hey, we've tried everything and nothing's working, EOS might be a good fit. EOS is a framework, Alex. The way that I sort of like to say it is, when you start a business, obviously it's a lot of times it's just you. You start out and you start this business, and maybe you're successful, and maybe you sell a few things, and maybe you build a few decks and put up a few fences. But to scale and to grow, you're going to have to create an extension of yourself. You're going to have to add somebody else to your team. You're going to have to be able to delegate to them some tasks so that you can do the things that you're great at and work in your unique ability. And maybe you need to be doing more sales, or maybe you shouldn't be doing all the fence. And if you want to grow into a real company, then each person that you hire also has to be able to build extensions of themselves. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. One, I guess there's guesswork. We can guess. There's hard work. That's another option. And then there's framework. And EOS is a framework on which to grow your business.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a common problem, for smaller fencing or decking businesses, any business, I guess, where, maybe not just getting started out, but if you don't have many employees, you're doing all the work. I think eventually you kind of, unless you're happy with that, but I would say most people, at least the ones we speak to, want to grow and expand. And, eventually you run out of time in the day, you can't do all the work. So I think EOS will be perfect for those kinds of people that are really scaling, I guess, trying to grow the company fast or just grow it in general. So, but would you say it's used pretty widely for a lot of businesses?
Yeah, I say there are over 25,000 companies running on EOS that are working with professional implementers. There's probably another magnitude of that are just implementing EOS on their own. But I think one part that I think maybe that I want to clarify is that most of us entrepreneurs are kind of built the same way. We're used to dealing with kind of 136 simultaneous issues. Like, it's just being bombarded with like all this stuff all the time. And EOS is really designed to help you take those 136 simultaneous issues, and if we can strengthen just 6 key components of your business, then those 136 simultaneous issues tend to just sort of fall into place because they're really symptoms of a different root cause. And so I'd like to talk about the 6 key components of EOS, or 6 key components of your business that EOS is designed to strengthen. Um, So first of all is the vision component. And this is really about getting your team 100% on the same page with where you're going and how you're going to get there. The second component is your people component. And this is really about getting the right people in the right seats. And the truth is you can't achieve a great vision if you don't have great people. Then there's the data component. And this is really about running your business on facts and figures and real numbers and not the sort of subjective emotional decision making that most of us do in our business. And then, of course, when your vision component is strong, and your people component strong, and your data component strong, your business becomes transparent, and all of your weaknesses and your challenges and your problems and your obstacles just start to jump out. And so you need to be really, really good at solving issues as they come up, which brings us to the issues component of your business. And so we help you get really, really good at solving those problems as they arise, setting them up, knocking them down, and making them go away forever. And then, of course, we have the process component. And process component is about realizing that you just have a handful of core processes that need to be documented in your business so that you and your team are doing the things that you need to do, doing them the right way and the best way every single time. And then the last component, or the sixth key component of your business, is the traction component. Now, the traction component is where we bring your vision down to the ground and we execute on it with discipline and accountability. We like to say that vision without traction is hallucination. And so traction is really about putting that discipline and accountability in place so that wherever you look in your business, you see people executing on your vision. So those are the six key components of your business. Getting those to 80% stronger or better will make all those simultaneous issues you're dealing with just kind of fall into place.
Gotcha. Okay. And um, I will say I do hear this pretty often too, in terms of not being able to find the right people, the right fit for your business. But with EOS, you're saying basically you have that vision, you have everything put together, you have systems. So that actually helps you find those types of people as well that kind of fit your vision. Is that also like part of the process, like actually knowing what to look for in new employees?
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about people for a second. Um, when we talk about people in EOS, we're talking about right people and right seat. That's two different things. Right people are people that fit your core values. Those are people that fit your team like a glove. They exhibit your core values. They fit in. They exemplify the core values of you and your team. Those are right people. Right seats are people who are great at their jobs. Those are people with God-given talent, skills, ability, and all of that stuff. But the truth is you got to have both. You got to have right people and right seats. You can't just have one. If you got somebody who's the right person, they're great people, they hang around, but they're not so great at their job. We got to try and figure out how to put them in the right seat. Maybe there's another seat for them. But if there's not, I got to urge you to make a change because, we're for-profit businesses. We can't just keep people around because we love them. I
Yeah.
mean, they have to be able to do their job. Now, one of the other key issues they may have there is you might have a right person, or you might have a wrong person in the right seat. Now, this could be somebody who's great at their job, they're hitting their numbers, but man, are they just chipping away at you guys in every single way? They're negative, or they're just aggressive, or whatever that is, and they're just eating away at your culture. Then I'm going to suggest you also make a change because that person is going to do more long-term harm than good. And so right person, right fit's really important. So we give you the tools and the skills to identify right people, attract the right people, and repel people who aren't a great fit. So we have tools that help you do that. Of course, we have a tool called the People Analyzer that helps you determine right person, right seat. And then, of course, we build accountability charts so we understand that we can put the right people in the right seats in your business, and they're managing the roles properly in the company.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, fencing and decking, most are small to, I guess, medium sized, businesses. So with EOS, is that pretty easily adaptable for these like smaller types of businesses? Or any kind of adjustments or anything specifically that's typically done for, I guess, more on the smaller side, maybe not medium size. I think like
Yeah,
10 plus, 10, 20, 30, something like that.
yeah, I think if you have the ideal target market for EOS is 10 10 to 250 employees, privately owned companies with 10 to 250 employees. But there's no hard and fast rule on that. If you want to build a strong leadership team around you, now it doesn't make sense if it's just you to implement EOS, but we have small leadership teams that we implement EOS with, teams of 2, 3, 4. it's still really important to build the right structure for your company. And not only that, what we're building is we're building the vision for the future. And so we are going to build your 10-year target or your big, hairy, audacious goal. And then we're going to come backwards a little bit and we're going to build your 3-year picture. And we're going to develop and design exactly what your company needs to look like just 3 years from now. Then we're going to go backwards from that. We're going to build a 1-year plan. We're going to set some goals for the year. These are the things that we need to accomplish this year on the way to that 3-year picture and on the way to that big, hairy, audacious goal we set. And then we're going to take that 1-year picture, we're going to break that down, and we're going to work in a 90-day world. So every 90 days, we're getting together. We're looking back on our progress to see how we did this quarter. We are going to get all on the same page again, make sure that we're all on the same page again, because sometimes we're not. We're going to align again, get back on the same page. We're going to set a new set of rocks for the next quarter, and then we're going to go out and execute again with discipline and accountability. And we just work in like a 90-day world in EOS.
Gotcha. Okay. So with all the trainings that you've done and all you've seen from EOS, are there any frustrations that business owners have that like really stick out the most? I mean, what you're constantly seeing, or maybe every time, or whatever you're seeing most from business owners that you're like, yeah, it's just you. I guess you find that commonality between the businesses that decide to start using EOS.
Yeah, I think I think it's a combination of things, and some of the things we talked about before. It's just that we don't have the skills to grow a business. I mean, we have the skills to operate and to, whether it's building fences, building decks, or we're doing something we love and it's something we're good at. But there's a lot about running a business that we don't always understand as a visionary entrepreneur. And so, the common frustrations happen around we don't have a system. We're just growing. We're just growing and there's chaos. And so in EOS, we talk about this complexity model. And so, Alex, just between you and I want to illustrate this way. There's just 2 lines of communication, right? You talking to me talking to you, 2 lines. If we add one more person, there's now 6 lines of communication. You to them to you, them to me, them to you, and me to you. So now the complexity is increased 200% with just with 50% more people. We have a 200% increase in complexity. Add one more person, 12 lines of communication, right?
Yeah.
And now we've got incredible complexity in our business. And because we're the owners and because we're just sort of used to that sort of chaos, it just grows and grows. And so I think there's a lot of chaos in businesses. I think in a lot of cases, I've heard it described as one of those white vans going down the interstate about 90 miles an hour, but you're not driving it. You're kind of running behind it, trying to grab onto the doors, trying to hold on because the business is sort of running away from you. And so I want to put you in the driver's seat, Alex. I want to put you in control of your business. I want you to control the business and not the other way around.
Yeah. And get back all those things you started the business probably for, in the beginning,
Yeah.
where you wanted to have some
Yeah.
freedom and, spend more time with family or friends or hobbies or whatever. And, then we start a business and we're way busier than we were before.
Yeah. They say when you own your own business, you only have to work half a day. But you can do anything you want with the other 12 hours. Right.
That's why I haven't heard that one
And
before.
so yeah, I mean, most of us start businesses because we want that freedom. And the fact is the truth will set you free. And so in EOS, we're open, we're honest, we put problems out on the table and we solve them, and we don't keep things in. We throw everything on the table and we work together as a team to solve it. And we built a great leadership around you that has great skills at solving problems.
Gotcha. Okay. So kind of continue with that. So if somebody is implementing EOS, we know the frustrations that kind of lead them up to it, but I mean, are there any common challenges that really arise when the implementation process starts? Any kind of, I guess, typical challenges that you see, and anything that I guess you use to overcome them? Anything you could discuss about that?
Sure. No, I think there's a couple of different ways to implement EOS. You can self-implement. So I would suggest starting with the book Traction. Let's read Traction. You can understand the system. Maybe I would read the book called Get a Grip. I love the audio book of Get a Grip, and it's sort of the fable of EOS. And I think for visionaries, I think they see it a little better in that story than the kind of the clinical, the traction book of all the step by step. But those 2 books together are really the foundation of EOS. And there's others, but But I would start by sort of reading those books. And if you self-implement, you need somebody on your team who really understands the system and can get in. Now you can go to eosworldwide.com. You can download all the tools and all the worksheets, and it's all there and it's all free. I will say that it is simple, but not easy, because what you're doing in some cases, you are taking, one of the big brains in your business and one of the leaders, and you're making them learn this new system and try and teach it to everybody else. Now, the other option, and I will say it's possible, and there are people doing it. It is simple but not easy. The other option is to hire a professional EOS implementer. That is somebody like myself and me and 700 of my EOS friends. There are roughly 700 of us in the world that implement EOS. We come in, we're that third party outside voice that guides you through the entire process. The process starts with what we call our 90-minute meeting. That's just me meeting with you and your leadership team. I'm going to learn about you. You're going to learn about me. I'm going to show you all the EOS tools. And then I'm going to walk you through the exact process on how we implement EOS in your business. That meeting is 100% free. If you are interested in a 90-minute meeting, contact me or any other EOS implementer. Happy to do that meeting for you and give you a really good intro to EOS. And that's really the way it starts. And then, of course, if you move forward with that, then we go into a full implementation of EOS in your business.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think everyone could see having someone that kind of guides you through the process, especially if you're very new to it. It would take a while to get to your level or, the other guys that you work with. I am curious too, like if you were to self-implement, like you were saying, do you really need someone that's pretty much their sole job, at least in the beginning, is just to like manage that whole process?
I don't think it's an 80-hour job by any means, but understanding EOS and implementing the implementation of EOS, the way that it's done professionally is we meet uh, one, like that 90-minute meeting I just talked about. Then we schedule what's called a focus day, and focus day is a full 8-hour day. We spend a full 8 hours working on your business, not in your business. And so we're going to work on your business. We're going to raise ourselves above the business, kind of like a 30,000-foot view. And we're going to look down upon it like the board of directors, like a chessboard. And we're going to move the pieces around. We're going to get it right. Okay. And then 30 days later, we're going to meet again. We're going to review everything we did in that day. And we're going to start working on your vision. And so there's a entire process around it, but I don't think the person that would be implementing EOS is a full-time job. But if you want to implement EOS correctly, you are going to have to put in some time and effort.
Okay. Okay. So once you're implementing it, I mean, are there any tools or resources? You may have touched on this a little bit, but maybe there's kind of some more. I'm sure there are like tools or resources within EOS that really helps you streamline operations, have a better, more cohesive team, improve communication. Are there any tools like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in each one of the 6 key components, we have at least 2 tools or disciplines that we use to help you, get better at your vision component or your people component or your data component. In the people component there, like we talked about, right people, right seats. And so we use we have a tool called the people analyzer that helps you understand and make sure you're getting the right people on your team. And we have accountability charts, which help maps out all the roles and responsibility and the structure for your business and what it needs to look like in the next 6 to 12 months. So those are the 2 tools or disciplines. And people, there's a couple of tools or disciplines in the vision component. And that is really something we call the VTO, which is our vision traction organizer. It's basically a 2-page business plan. We don't take like a 40-page strategic planning process. It's 2 pages and it's 8 simple questions that we answer together as a leadership team. Those questions are: what are your core values? What is your core focus? What is your core target? What is your marketing strategy? What is your 3-year picture? What is your 1-year plan? What are your rocks and what are the issues, or what are the things holding you back? And we answer those together over 2 days until we're 100% on the same page with our vision. And then, of course, the next tool or discipline there is getting that shared by all, getting everybody on the team to understand our vision, understand our core values, understand where we're heading, and understanding our plan and how to get there. In the data component, we have scorecards and metrics. In the process component, we document our core processes, and then we have a system called Followed by All. And then we have in the issues component, we have the IDS session, which is identify, discuss, and solve. We have an issues list. And then in the traction component, we have rocks and a great meeting pulse. And maybe that's one of the things we should touch on is that level 10 meeting, or the meetings that we have in EOS, because it's one of the core components of EOS that we haven't quite touched on yet.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, is that something you want to kind of elaborate on in the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the key components of EOS there, and one of the foundational EOS tools, is having a great meeting pulse. And what that really means is, most companies, if I ask them like, hey, would you rate your meetings on a scale of 1 to 10? Most people say 4 or 5 or 3. Meetings are horrible. Most meetings are horrible. But we have something called the level 10 meeting, because we want to make your meetings a 10. And so we've got a great structure for having meetings in your company weekly. So we have a meeting agenda. We start on time, we end on time. The meeting's the same day every week. And we use that meeting to check in on our business. We check in on our scorecard, make sure that we're accomplishing the things that we need to accomplish. We're checking on our employees and our customers, make sure they're happy. We're going to review our to-do list, make sure we're doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. And then we're going to spend about an hour identifying, discussing, and solving the biggest problems you have in your business on a weekly basis. This meeting alone will eliminate most of the crappy meetings that people have in their companies.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's funny when you I definitely think everyone could agree with that. We do weekly meetings too. I don't know if I would say a 4, but I definitely wouldn't be saying a 10. There's always room for improvement with that. But okay, so if you're a fence or deck builder, I mean, is there any I'm trying to, get an idea of anybody that's listening that has a fence or deck company that's trying to say, like, is this the right fit for me? I mean, is there anything they should be looking at specifically within their business, or like questions they can ask themselves about the business or themselves, to figure out if this is a good fit?
Yeah, I think it'd be great to have a conversation with an EOS implementer, and I'm available to you, and I'm sure we can put a link to me in the show notes. But ask yourself, are you getting what you want from your business? My job as an EOS implementer is to help you get more of what you want from your business. We're going to help you structure the business. We're going to make it so you're not sitting in 5 or 6 roles. We're going to help put you in the visionary seat where you belong. So you're managing this company, you're running this company, you're the face of the company. Maybe you're still doing sales. We'll figure that out. We'll figure out what role that you need to be working in. We'll get you out of the day-to-day operations of the things that you are maybe not great at, or maybe you don't love to do. We're going to move you into your unique ability, and we're going to put you in a spot where you're doing the things you love to do and the things that you're great at. And so if you're struggling in your business at all, it might be good to have a conversation with an EOS implementer to see if this is a good fit for you. I don't know that it's a great fit for everyone, but get a 90-minute meeting scheduled with an EOS implementer. I'm happy to do that with you, but there's other implementers I can refer you to. Reach out to me. I'll connect you with somebody in your area. Get on a 90-minute meeting and see if this is a good fit for you. It changed my life, saved my life. It changed the way I operate my business. It helped me build that agency up to where I could sell it, but I didn't have to sell it. I just put the right structure in place. I got the right people in place. I put the right systems and processes in place, and I was able to take myself out of the day-to-day, which means I have great people and I have great processes. So if you need help putting great people and great processes in your business so that you can elevate and get out of the day-to-day, EOS might be a great fit for you.
Okay. And kind of a little bit more specific, and one thing that popped in my head is, if you're growing your business, like you're saying, you want to have the right people in the right seats, delegate tasks from yourself and kind of do what you do best. How do you navigate that one if it's like a budget concern? You're like, okay, well, we need more jobs. We need to sell more fences or decks before we can actually afford to hire someone. How does EOS come in there? I mean, if you're at that point, is that not a good fit, or do you guys help with kind of staying focused on the sales portion or marketing or whatever? How does that typically work?
Well, we believe in EOS that every component of every function of your business needs to be strong. We believe that you can't just have a strong sales department, or you can't just have a strong fulfillment department, or you can't just have a strong finance department. They all have to equally be strong. And so we're working on all of the components of your business all the time. Obviously, we have to figure out what your priorities are, and what things are on fire, and what are the most important things we have to get done this quarter. And then we build what we call rocks, which are the most important things you have to get done in the next 90 days. And we want you to focus on getting those things done. And so we hope you get more of the things done that you need to get done on a regular basis. Now, we absolutely, EOS is built and designed to help you grow and scale your business. And that, you know, whether that's sales or finance or just function or structure or delegating and elevating and figuring out what things that you should and shouldn't be doing in your task list, and delegating those things to somebody at a lower dollar value. I mean, all of that is a part of EOS.
Okay. So just to kind of summarize, like if you were interested in doing this, first steps, I mean, the bare minimum would at least be to check out the book. If you don't want to read, if you're not a big reader, then contact somebody from either yourself, somebody from EOS Worldwide that can basically do a free 90-minute session. So there's not much of a monetary commitment at all. That's a pretty lengthy call for free. So is that what you would say, like kind of first steps?
Yeah, I think and the 90-minute meeting is a great introduction to EOS. But if you're curious and you want to kind of do some work on your own, definitely, again, read the book Traction, or I actually like to listen to the audiobook Get a Grip. I think it's a really good story and an understanding of a typical company that's struggling in some areas and where an EOS implementer comes and helps them put structure in place. I think that's a great story for most visionaries to listen to. But yeah, absolutely, certainly. Contact me. I'll put you in touch with either myself or another EOS implementer that will, set you up with that free 90-minute meeting. It's for you and your leadership team, because we want the whole team to buy in. This is not something that we, shove down their throats. We got to make sure that it's a great fit. And most leadership teams that we do this with, they crave the structure. They need it. They love the idea of having tools and having things that will help them be better at their jobs. And EOS is that 100%.
Okay. You've touched on EOS Worldwide too. I mean, can you give a little background, I guess, on the company a little bit? I know, kind of how, I know there's a bunch of guys like yourself that will implement it for it, but I mean, was this created, EOS Worldwide created a long time ago just for, I mean, how did it, I guess, the company itself come about?
Yeah, I think the company is roughly 13, 14, 15 years old, maybe a little more. Again, founded by Gino Wickman. He just had a desire to help small businesses. And he saw just such a gap out there in the training and the availability of systems and tools for small business versus, what was out there in corporate America. And he just started to help people put this system in place. And he started kind of building the system. And it grew. It grew from 1 or 2 implementers to now over 700 implementers worldwide. It's a great company. It's a great system. I love being a part of it. It's an amazing community of people. And I see, when EOS was sort of founded, one of the things we create as part of your vision is your big, hairy, audacious goal, or we call it your 10-year target. The original 10-year target was 10,000 companies running on EOS. And that had to be changed after we hit, close to 10,000. Then we moved our 10-year target to 100,000. And just recently that was moved to 1 million. So the goal is really to have 1 million of companies or more running on EOS. There's a lot of software and tools that'll help you do it. But, and again, all of this is actually free unless, of course, you pay a professional implementer to help you. It's just one of those things where a professional implementer will help you get there faster.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And kind of going back to that point, you go to this, you get to the point where you're so busy within your business and there's so much to do, you don't really have time. I mean, how realistic is it, unless you have somebody that can really, be designated for that role to successfully implement it, especially if you've never, if you're not too familiar with EOS? That's kind of how I would look,
I think it's worth every penny for implementation. I think that the speed at which and the professionalism that you get from a professional implementer, or in my case, a certified implementer, is extraordinary. I think the structure that we give your team and that outside voice coming in is super powerful. Your boss tells you a lot of things, and as an employee, we're typically used to dealing with a visionary, and visionaries they have a lot of ideas, and this is just going to feel like an, oh no, Lyn's got another, here he comes again with something else. It's going to shove on us, right? But when you bring in that outside third party and the team really gets to see it with new eyes,
Yeah.
I think they'll really love the system and want to buy in. I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, it did. Yeah, it definitely did. And I mean, I think everything you've gone through really helped paint a picture of what EOS is and kind of the benefits that somebody would have from using it. But I mean, is there any additional nuggets of wisdom or any insights you have, before we were kind of getting towards the end of the podcast, or anything else you'd like to share?
gosh, there's so many, I guess. You know, I I want you to achieve your dreams. I want you to get out of your business what you originally thought you'd get out of it. You know, most of us start a business and we end up not loving it the way that we once did because it's different than you thought. I mean, it's not just putting up a fence and it's not just securing a family shard. It's accounting, it's taxes, it's managing people, it's HR, it's processes, it's customer support. It's a lot that we all have to do. And one guy can't do it all and one woman can't do it all. We need to build a great team around you. And if you can build a great team and you can all get on the same page and you're all rowing in the right direction, you're all rowing in the same direction, and now you're all kind of paddling together in the same cadence, that's sort of when the magic happens in your business.
Okay. No, I like that. I think that was pretty much all the questions I had for you. I mean, Lyn, I know I hyped you up in the beginning. I think everyone can got their values worth by listening to this podcast and got probably more than they were expecting. I know I did. So thanks for coming on here and sharing all your expertise about EOS and your story and really the whole thing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I mean, if your audience has a desire for EOS and wants to learn more, and happy to do like a webinar with you or anything, just kind of walk through the system or explain it. I'm passionate about it because of the change it had in my life and my business and my family. I just want the same for you. I want the same for everyone. I guess that's why I'm so passionate about it. It's just I, I see that the dream of, the sort of the American dream of running a business and having the freedom that you want is possible. Wasn't sure about that for a lot of years. I worked a lot of 16-hour days, probably for 20 years of that, until it almost got me. I had a giant wake up call and I found a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that idea about the webinar too. I mean, we do one each month, but yeah, we'll have to talk about that from the EOS side. That'd be cool. Kind of go through a little bit more detail. But yeah, definitely appreciate you coming on here and kind of going forward with the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast. So we are going to be continuing to do these weekly podcasts. I'm constantly trying to find new interesting guests like Lyn that will come on here and kind of share some different takes and share some of their knowledge. So we'll continue to be doing that each week. If you could leave a review for the podcast and subscribe to it if you are enjoying it. If not, no worries, don't leave a review. But if you wouldn't mind doing that, it's a huge help for us. And if you do, of course, have any questions about marketing for your fencing or decking business, reach out through our website, deckfencemarketers.com. We're on every social media channel. We post every day on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. So there's a lot of short form content there. And then the monthly webinars, like we were talking about, we also have those coming out where we talk basically everything about digital marketing and ways you can improve your fence or deck business with that. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And Lyn, thanks again for coming on here.
It's my pleasure. I'm always excited to talk to you. Always excited to talk about EOS. I'd love to come back and expand upon it if your audience wants it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Lyn. Well, take care. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, Alex.
All right.